I've called this part of the video not just about rosters, and clearly I'm saying that I've said it before that I'm extremely disappointed with the narrative, particularly in the media, and obviously from some of the Garda associations, that this debate becomes only about a single issue, particularly affecting one association. So the title I picked was not about rosters because I've taken a wider look, a strategic look at the issues involved. And the first thing that I'm absolutely sure, and of course my background is Garda for many, many years and writing about it during my retirement and interacting with my senior colleagues who are also retired. There is a present toxic climate which is very, very dangerous and not helpful to anyone. And it is characterized by a highly personalized conflict where the personality is involved and one in particular is very much to the fore. Whereas I think that the focus should be on policy. Now, obviously, policy can also lead to looking at the personalities involved, and if that is the case, so be it. But in the first instance, in my humble view, the view should be about looking at what are the policy issues that cause the difficulty and are there lessons to be learned, and I think there obviously are. Um, just saying my initial point and repeating it much wider than rosters. The two key Garda associations, the Garda Representative Association and the Association of Garda Sergeants and Inspectors, both of those organisations have taken to the streets, either metaphorically or literally, in the past 12 months, complaining about a whole myriad of issues relating to terms and conditions of employment. And there is no doubt that the terms and conditions of the Guards has deteriorated very rapidly over the last 10 years. Their conditions of service are now infinitely worse than those with which when myself and my colleagues served in. They are worse, and that is of course a major grievance. So while rosters is important, of course it is only part of the picture. Internally, as I'd said, there's a poor focus on policy, there's poor internal communication. Issuing diktats doesn't necessarily work. You need to be able to bring your team with you. There has been major organisational disruption occasioned since 2019. That's when the operating model was introduced, and now that has been rolled back in some very important respects since, but it's a big, big no. Every single station, every member, both Garda staff and Gardaí, have been affected by it with no discernible beneficial return to the community. Retention and recruitment, an unprecedented situation. Never in my long service or my colleagues was that ever a difficulty. People were joining in serried ranks outside the door, thousands more than could possibly accommodate. Now, so they are some of the internal characteristics. But when it looks the other way, there are external challenges, and what does it mean for the community? How well are they served by the Garda Síochána, by the Department of Justice in the current circumstances? It is conceded by all that there's a very poor uniform visibility, and that of course is the comfort factor for the greater portion of our population, because then they have that relationship of trust based on years and knowledge, and the uniform visibility enhances that greatly. Now, of course, it would be churlish not to recognise that there's been excellent performance in relation to serious crime investigation, organised crime groups, and many other areas of specialism, where Gardaí have the opportunity of forming into tightly knit teams, given a time and a space and resources to pursue a particular initiative, and they are extremely good at doing that, and that's always been the case. But of course, greater population look to the Guards for that familiar face, that familiar blue uniform at the end of your street or your road or your townland, and that clearly is not deliverable in present circumstances. And the short-termism of increasing the age limit or extending it really do not get to the core point of why on earth are we in a different situation than we were for the last 100 years of our existence. As an example, I mentioned it already, the dysfunctional disruptive policing operating model has been around since 2019. It's a total disaster. That needs now some of it has been rolled back on by the Commissioner, and that's to be welcome, but this is a totally disruptive factor for normal policing, normal uniform policing. Another example is both the Minister and Commissioner have signed a contract for a dysfunctional privatised speed detection system that is rigid, inflexible, and doesn't go where the problems emerge as time goes on. So look, all I'm saying is there are both external challenges and internal challenges, and they are much greater than the issues around the roster or going to the WRC or anything of that sort. We're in a much different situation. Post 2014, there has been a feeling amongst my retired colleagues, and I guess some serving ones as well, that in terms of recommendations or looking forward, it has been a case of anyone but Garda, an ABG, and wisdom is sought from the most unlikely of sources and the most unlikely of people. Policing authority, GSOC and the Garda Inspectorate figure in varying degrees in this debate. But I guess the question one would always ask, have we been here before? Most certainly we have. It's only at the start of the 1960s there was a major issue in the Garda Síochána at the time. 11 guards who were on what was in the representative body for guards were dismissed. They were subsequently reinstated. The Conroy Commission was instituted, and that looked at a major reset of the Garda organisation, which was literally coming out of the dark ages at that stage. And it made very far-reaching recommendations. Honestly, I do believe, and I know there is no appetite for commissions, for inquiries, but I really think that the issues that we described very briefly here require a major reset. They require a major reset along the lines already mentioned, and not any kind of commission that comes with a preset agenda, and most certainly it has to involve the Garda, the people who serve within the ranks and the people who represent them, and a wider Garda constituency as well when you're going for a major reset. These things are too important to be defined only as a single issue agenda.